I press you to a cucumber sandwich. I press you to a cucumber sandwich. Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea. Afternoon I press you to a cucumber sandwich. 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 AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation. AI press you to lead to come to separation.
Okay, well, let's see how this whole thing was pieced together, shall we? As usual, we'll start with the drums. We'll start with our kick, which is labeled Jungle Drum. And that, I think that actually comes from the New Day breakbeat, and that's what it's called in my folder. I think it's from this song called It's a New Day. Old kind of funk song from the 70s, like pretty much every drum sound I use. And this one here, don't know what break that's from, but I use that snare a lot. It's just this tight, gated, pitch-shifted snare. A rather light snare hit that's had its volume boosted, so it just kind of sounds a lot louder than it should, but I kind of like it. And it's got like a bit of something extra in there too, which kind of gives it a little bit of a pitched kind of sound. There we have a nice snare drum, which is the main snare drum. And it's actually called Snare Drum High Reggae, and this comes from the Redux sample library. I wasn't being too imaginative with it because it really did work with the samples that I was using, so it sounds nice. Our cymbal, just the same cymbal I always use from the Redux library. That same snare drum but pitch shifted higher.
Afternoon tea.
We'll get back to that. The hi-hats, awesome hi-hats from the Amen break, and the crash cymbal and kick from the Amen break in the third bar. That combined with the other crash cymbal, they mix together and do some weird things, and it actually sounds pretty cool. And they're going into the mixer, so the kick and hi-hats and cymbals, they're all going into channel 1. Snares are going into channel 2, and then that's going into the chaos pad. And we'll just play. Okay, we'll take everything else down. There, just the drums for now. Okay, that's a bit hectic, that one. And that's how they sound all mixed together. Sounds kind of nice. They're going into the chaos pad before the mixer. And I'm doing a lot of filtering in this track here. And pitch shifting sometimes. Mostly filtering and pitch shifting. And sometimes delay. And also the send and return of the mixer is going into, you can't really see that, but it's going into my old rack mount digital delay machine, and it sounds like this. Sounds really, nice. And I use that a lot. When I started this, I was kind of working with a kind of a faster rhythm, or a double speed rhythm to that, which is like that, and then that. Sounds pretty berserk, but I actually kind of found myself gravitating to the halftime version of it a lot more, probably because I hadn't heard it a million times, and it sounds better when you put the reverb on. If you do it with the fast version, just too much shit going on, so it just kind of messes it up a little bit. We'll move into our sort of reggae guitar samples now. They came from kind of basically some learning material on YouTube, and I won't tell you what it is because I probably shouldn't. I might get in trouble. And that's this. Oh, it's not turned up. And this. And I actually really agonized about the tuning of these, like a lot. It was bad. And because mixing it with the Future Retro and the Erebus, we had some, tuning issues, we'll put it that way. And yes, so we'll just play those. Here we go. That's going into the Sullen Key filter, which admittedly is doing nothing but adding a lot of noise to it, which I guess is okay. I just didn't end up using it, it's just still plugged in. And a lot of time it just kind of, to make things kind of build up, I sort of get a lot of feedback and boost the delay level. This is really good, this Echo Dream too, it's really awesome. And before it's going into this, it's going into my channel strip, which you can't really see because it's dark, but it's got a compressor in it and a parametric EQ. I've bypassed the compressor and I'm just using the parametric EQ because I get a bit more control over it, over the sound, and I was having trouble getting it to stick out with the drums because drums are so crowded and messy. Okay, we'll take that down. We'll go into our bass line now, which is this one here. Also the salt and pepper here just because I just ate tea. And yeah, it sounds nice and distorted. Throughout the track I sometimes play with the decay, and I don't end up really changing these too much. And also the cutoff, which has kind of an envelope, well, the filter's got the envelope affecting it, which is kind of nice. Didn't really play with that too much in the jam that I actually recorded, but yeah, you get the idea. Just the bass line really. And we'll go on to our melodic elements, our more melodic elements at least. So yeah, like the sort of lead synth sounds come from the Erebus, and this. Actually, that's a bit off. That's out of time. This sometimes happens with this when you have a pattern which is 2 bars and a pattern which is 1 bar. They go out of sync with each other if you change them at the wrong time, which I sometimes do. And actually, that took me a long time. I'm not really, I don't really have a big musical head for musical theory. So it took me a while to actually figure out that melody. Like, I was whistling it for a day before I programmed it into this thing. But it actually took a long time for me to actually figure it out. But yeah, I'm glad I did. It sounds a little bit annoying, but that's okay, I guess. Well, not really. And here we have it sort of mirroring the bass line, which I think happens once. And our last stooge is basically something coming from our braids. I've just changed the tuning of it so it just goes at a constant pitch. So sort of like a bit of a drone, and it goes into this filter which has this really lovely resonance on it. I change that sometimes. It sounds fucking lovely. And last but not least, let's go into the vocal samples. We'll get rid of these.
Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea.
We've got, nope, not that one.
May I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
Yes, you may. I won't tell you what movie that's from, but it's set in space, we'll put it that way. It's quite ridiculous. And it's got this character in it who's like this really strange villain.
May I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
And he has the propensity to say just odd things.
May I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
Awkward things. Awkward and odd things.
Afternoon tea.
Yeah, afternoon tea.
May I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
Yeah, and those are the only ones I ended up using, but I had a whole lot more planned, but it just didn't actually fit. Cool
and refreshing. Cool and refreshing.
And refreshing this sample here, which I didn't end up using. And the woos and the yes. And those didn't really work out, probably because of those hi-hats in there, and there's enough kind of cymbal and hi-hat action going on in the song itself. And it just muddied things up and made things sound weird, so I just didn't end up using it. I could have like EQ'd it and then resampled it, but I couldn't be bothered, to be perfectly honest. And what else? Oh yeah, yeah, I think that's everything. Have a think about it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, and that concludes season 1 of Sad Man Caves. I'll see you in season 2.